Welcome to 5-Star Weekly. The season has ended, as has the coach's tenure. Which players should we keep, and which players should we let go? Getting all that and more coming up. Before we get into it, become part of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube. Welcome to the show, 5-Star fam. I'm AJ, and this is Michael. And Atl Utd drew the last match of the season, and Brad Guzan retired. And yes, before we get into all that and more, we'll give some big shouts out to our loyal Patreon fam, most notably Gavin, Jordan, Niall, Andrew, Chris, Nick, Jeff, and Patrick. You guys are legends. But yes, very quickly, we'll go through this 1-1 draw versus DC United. It wasn't the most eventful, but we did start it off very well, where Miggy, he got a screamer, a rug burner, and I do mean rug because, yes, our turf pitch. But, yeah, I mean, it is a really good goal, and, you know, worked from kind of a little bit of a set piece type of thing. And, you know, I think good enough to get it in past where, I mean, something that Miggy hasn't really done too much of this season, which is score from distance. I think you definitely want to see him do more of that next season. But yeah, otherwise, you know, a little bit of a lackluster match. Basically, two sides that's you know, fighting for the wooden spoon in the sense of not getting the distinction. But you know, we had a little bit of the advantage, of course, us being at home, and you know, DC, yeah, they had a little bit more I think to lose in that regard, but we were able to at least, you know, I think salvage it. But it definitely wasn't a banner game. But yeah, what were your headlines from this match?
I don't have much. This was a very, like I said after the game, I was saying it was a big snoozer.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, outside of Miguel's magic, there wasn't that much. I thought we looked like the better team, but when you're going up against a team with Benteke, even when he's in a pretty fairly poor season, which he was in, he's still always a threat. So, you know, you always have to keep an eye on that. When they scored their goal, I was worried this could end badly. I was always worried that could be the case in this game. Mm-hmm. We could find a way to lose this game. We should win it. But man, was this a mid-off between these two teams. It was very, very boring. I feel bad for the commentators who they got this decision day game over some of the exciting ones. So yeah, it's just like, I think like, what was that? Caitlin Kyle or whatever that guy's, is that guy's name?
Anyway,
yeah, one of the
Caitlin Kyle, yeah,
yeah, woman? That's him, right?
The woman?
No, not him. The other one that sounds like that. I forget his name. Anyway, that guy, he was on there. Damn, I can't remember his name. Anyway,
not important.
Yeah, yeah. So those commentators, I feel sorry for them. It was like, if you're an Atlanta fan watching this match, you're just worried that you're going to drop the ball, and a DC fan is just sitting there going, "This sucks. It's always sucked. This is not going to get better." Like, it was, you know, both fans are just like, can this just be over with? And
yeah.
It was just, I really hope we're never there again. Really hope we can just forget it and move on. I don't think there's anything you can learn from this match. There's nothing you can like glean from it that could be helpful going forward. I don't think this match mattered whatsoever in terms of Ronny Deila keeping his job. It just, you know, no players are going in and out now because of the result here or lack thereof. It's just, you know, I don't think it's really worth even analyzing very much.
Yeah, it was competitive exercise, and that very much is the case here. But yeah, I mean, you know, as far as you know, Atl Utd, they didn't give up, to be fair, but ultimately, yeah, it is just not good enough. It's been evident that this was the case, and you know, I think the plus side is that the important players for next year, which we will get into pretty much later on in this episode, with who we might keep, who we might move on. But that no one really got injured in the last game. That would be probably the real heartbreaker if somebody got injured in the last game of the season. But ultimately, yes, it's a game that really truly didn't matter in the sense that some people wanted us to get the wooden spoon. Some people really didn't want us to get the wooden spoon, and people tried to bring wooden spoons into the stadium, and some were denied, unfortunately. But it is, I think, the case where, it still is, Atlanta United games are still fun, in that sense. So going to this, it was a really it was still a good atmosphere in some respects, and I think it was a lot in part because of Brad Guzan, it being his last game. A lot of the Goose chants, reverberating around the stadium. So, ultimately, Guzan got the, he got the golden spike. He hammered that home. He did give a speech at the end of the match too. The players hung around and clapped the fans, going from the dugout to the supporters section at the end of it. And I think it was just very fascinating that Brad Guzan used a lot of "we" verbiage in his speech, and that bit has us questioning, I don't know what he really means by it. Is it that he will be here next year? Is he going to be here in some capacity as a coach, as a assistant, as a, someone in the front office, someone in the broadcast team? Not sure, but we do know that he is going to be part of the broadcast team for MLS for some of the playoff matches. So that, in the very least, he already has his next gig lined up. But yeah, Miggy, he did make his 100th start with Atlanta United in all competitions. He scored 6 goals this season. And Brad Guzan, of course, played his last professional soccer match of his career, his 552nd in his professional career. So, yeah, insane. But, so it is unfortunately the end of the season, and I think that's probably all that's really necessary to be said about this match. But let's get into the news.
Well,
and
right before we do that,
sure.
I did hear something, because you asked the question about Brad Guzan and his statements with the "we."
Yeah.
I too thought that was interesting, and I heard it brought up somewhere else in the Atlanta United media sphere, that he was asked about that after, I think, after his press conference or whatever. At the end of the game, his "we" comments, when he was talking to the fans after the game ended, and he was asked to clarify, what did he mean "we"? And apparently what he said was sorry, I didn't really mean to say it like that. It doesn't mean anything. It's just, I am just so used to saying "we," and it was reflexive, and it wasn't that I'm implying that I'm going to be here. So I think that I'm not quoting verbatim what was said there. I was just kind of intimating what was conveyed to me from what I read in the rest of the Atlanta United media sphere.
Yeah. And so, he could just be deflecting it. He could be actually telling the truth. We don't know. But it is definitely interesting food for thought that he put it that way. And,
he is going to be on the broadcasts now, yes, apparently.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah, we will see how his retirement actually transpires. So, we will see what happens there. But yes, let's do get into the news. And yes, of course, Brad Guzan, he did retire. And after 20 seasons and 20 years rather, pretty much. And basically, he, as far as, just a player that's embodied, Atlanta United, the ambassador of the ambassadorship of what he meant to Atlanta United and the city of Atlanta can't be understated. He's been our longest standing captain. So I think that's definitely his legacy here. But, you weren't in the episode last episode, but that's redundant, whatever. But, what are your thoughts on his legacy for Atlanta United?
Yeah, I mean, what you said that nails it right on the head, is that it can't be understated. He is he's Mr. Atlanta United, right? If you could, say it like that. Mm-hmm. Like Jose Martinez obviously was the face of the club for when he was here. Mm-hmm. He is still kind of like the spiritual kind of symbol of Atlanta United in my mind, at least when I think of the danger of what we were, what we symbolized to the league. But that obviously those teeth have been pulled a while ago, unfortunately, and we no longer have those types of fangs. But Brad Guzan, though, outside of that, if Jose Martinez was like the spear, like Brad Guzan was always the shield, and that has been there for forever, right? The vanguard, the guardian of the club, and in a way, kind of, and that people have talked about this too, is that it's kind of like the dad of the club too. Like he's kind of acting like a father figure for all the other players. And then he has that role in kind of that, those behaviors that go along with being like parental. So that's something that I always thought was a piece that's necessary in a team. Maybe not always from a player, but it could always be from a coach or for someone else that's not necessarily on the pitch. But when having it on the pitch too is also just like, I would think, a big boon, a great thing to have, especially with a guy like him. Like he's able to just joke all the time and kind of bring a degree of levity. Whenever you saw behind the scenes with him, it was always like him joking around, trying to build the camaraderie in the team. As someone with like a senior position understands, like that's partly your job, is to do that too, is to try and bring everyone together. Because like if you see things, it's like herding cats, you got to get them all on one page going one way. So I always thought he was a good guy for that, did a good job for it while he was here. And he'll be remembered as, like people say, like, Parker's is my captain, the forever captain of Atlanta United. I think Brad Guzan has a shout for that as well. I think, absolute captain of the ages for us, for basically almost the entirety of the time he's been here. So it's going to leave a big soul-shaped hole in the team. And I wonder, how they'll seek to fill that and replace that type of energy that I don't know the club will still have, be able to still have. So it'll be interesting to see what they try and do for that, because Brad is not an easily replaceable type of personality.
It's well said. Yeah, I mean, it'll be very surprising, I think, who is going to be brought on in the future. We will need leaders. We will need, other types of MLS veterans, and so I think that will be super important. Who is brought in, but no doubt.
Who's going to make this club their club next?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like this is their club,
right?
That's what I'm interested to know.
Right, because that really will be the future. But unfortunately for Ronny Deila, he will not be part of the club, and it will not be his club. He was announced on Sunday to have been relieved of his duties. And basically, Garth Lagerwey, he mentioned that it was evident that our standard of play was not met this season, and together with our senior leadership team, we have decided that it was in Atlanta United's best interest to move the team in a different direction. Ultimately, we owe fans a much better on-field product, and it is our unwavering commitment to provide that to this community as soon as possible. We want to thank Ronny for his time and commitment to the organization and wish him well in his future endeavors. And he had a 6-18-13 record across all competitions as well as League's Cup. But there will be an end of the season press conference later in the week on the training grounds. But basically Ronny Deila, I mean, is the worst, tenure for an Atlanta United head coach. Unfortunately, a lot of promise going into the season, but ultimately either through
all the promise, man.
Yeah,
It
all
wasn't
the promise.
Like a lot. It was like all the promise.
Yeah,
Jeez.
pundits and fans and everyone in between really bought the they bought into the juice. It was something that we all on paper felt like it was okay, this all makes sense, but the wheels came off very, very quickly after pretty much the first month. And I think that true lack of a preseason that was a collective for everybody really, I think, did affect a number of things, but ultimately there weren't enough adjustments. There weren't from a standpoint of a style of play, an identity, from a standpoint of players being able to improve or adjust within games. We saw the same problems constantly from game to game. And yes, Deila did call out the players with accountability, but it also it didn't seem like there was a message that really got through. And at the end of the day, he got some of his players. He got some of the the pieces that he said that he needed in order to be successful, and he got one win in his last 18 games. And from an optics standpoint, it is just a death knell. Like, there was no real other way. Like, from a fan standpoint, you can't keep a head coach who lost you this many games. But he got the vote of confidence in mid-season in May, and it didn't really do much. Unfortunately, it was pretty much murder she wrote. But Mike, your thoughts?
I guess I'm going to start by saying Glenn from the 5 Takes podcast, he still owes me a beer, because our bet was that he would be my side of the bet was that he wouldn't be fired during the season. This is technically after the season. so I win the bet.
Yeah, there you go.
Ronnie, you can't, like, as a respectable club, you can't just do what we did and just pretend to press on, unless you can give a compelling and obvious reason that the fans can understand as to why you're doing so. And there's nothing. We've racked our brains. We've come up with a lot of theories and explanations for why things have been the way they have, and not just from us, but fans and Atlanta United, the media sphere. It's been all over with what's going on, and I don't think that there is an adequate explanation for this besides things are just not working, and so they need to start over, which is unfortunate. No one wants to hear that, right? But I think the dreaded 2 windows thing, I don't know if we're 2 windows away from being competitive. I think maybe you get a new coach, a new fresh start, maybe some new players, not like a totality, but enough to get a little bit of new blood in. I think you can immediately become at least in the mid-table, which is not what we are right now, which is the bottom, almost the very bottom. So, I think you'll immediately see better results next season. Just we were saying, if they get a decent preseason, so I think you'll see some adjustments early on that will just make it better, hopefully. And Ronny Deila just clearly was not able to ever get those adjustments in to make those to get the team to change. Like I said, we're not quite sure why. And so it was just, you got to go. Mm-hmm. We didn't see a difference from preseason to the last game of the season. Mm-hmm. It was the same issues.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, second half capitulations, the attack not syncing up, the players. I mean, yeah, he had some downtrodden luck, to be fair. The defense really never really solidified until pretty much 2/3 of the season was over. And it's really tough to, build a foundation when your first choice, defense is just not available and absolutely injured. I think that part also needs to be identified, because it is not a problem that is, I think, only in a vacuum. This is not just Ronny Deila. It is players as well. It is the front office. It is scouting department. It is top down. There needs to be an examination of everything. And so, it's I think from a standpoint of the fans, like I've said before, and I will continue to harp, the club is now spoiled by the fans. It was, it's been that way for pretty much half a decade. And for it to be, looked at it a different way, I just don't see it. But I did ask this question on the live stream, is that, are we coach killers? And that question's for you, Mike.
I think to a degree we are. Yeah, like I was actually, while you're talking, I was kind of thinking about one of the things that Jason Longshore talked about Ronny when he first got signed. When you heard his interview, when he got brought on, about like what he does, and his methodology, and what he says is that he'll want to continue to teach as long as the team's willing to learn, and if no one's willing to learn, he's going to leave. Yeah. And if we never got to the point where it seemed like he's like, yeah, this team can't learn, but it, like, he never said that, but to me it seems like they kind of were at that point. So he might be like happy to kind of like do this to be done with it as well as we are with him, because like clearly from our point of view it wasn't working with him. Whatever he was selling, the players were not buying. He couldn't flip things around. He couldn't flip the script for whatever reason. And so, like, but to your point, the players really should be doing better just by accident, honestly. Like, and it's just ridiculous that even just with the people on the list of the roster, I mean, they should be better just by accident. It's ridiculous that they're not. That you're looking at you're almost staring down the bottom of the table, and you have players like Miguel Almiron on your team, and the number one signing striker before Sun goes signed in LA. Like, this shouldn't be a thing. A team that beat the heck out of Miami last year, like, and then playoff level team. Granted, we barely got in. It's still a playoff level team. And next year, we're at the bottom. It just doesn't compute. So there's a massive disconnect, like we've said earlier in the season, that like basically, if anyone paying attention has already diagnosed, it's issues with the team. It's not obviously just Ronny, but it is also Ronny that he can't get his message through. Both things need to be changed. We're in the process of changing the players. It takes a while, and the coach obviously clearly he needed to go too. Because he's just not able to be the force multiplier, in the positive sense that we needed to get things, going. He just kind of was either neutral or a negative impact. And it seemed to me it was, when you're at the bottom of the table, it's likely your coach is a negative impact.
Yeah, I mean, either negative impact or, the players down-tooled, the recruits just weren't good enough, in the sense that when you have, players go down due to injury or whatever may have you, there still are massive, just drop-offs from, your first team to, your bench players. And it's just, that cannot continue. It's just, I think there are some players that I think have been brought in that I think raised the floor a little bit, but yeah, ultimately there's just still so many of the same issues that pop up with the mistakes at crucial moments that cost us the game, a lack of clinical finishing ability. We just lack cutting edge in so many aspects, and as well creation of scoring chances. I mean, it's just, when you have this type of attack that, okay, yeah, they are misfits. You have players that are maybe suited for more counterattacking football, and then you have players that are suited for more possession. But, those things can coexist. But the issue is they just never looked fluid. They never looked like they could gel and, be put together. But I guess as well to, talk about the coach killing thing. I think there is a great shout, unfortunately, that it is the case because, Ronny Deila has had success before. It's not that he's, completely inept as a coach. It's that he stepped into a situation that, culture was, as Mike has aptly put in his Patreon article, early on in the season, it's a massive thing that many coaches have not been able to overcome. And, you've had Frank de Boer, you've had Stephen Glass, you've had Gonzalo Pineda, you've had Rob Valentino, all try to do something about it. And really only Rob Valentino has been able to do a little bit of something about it as far as winning a playoff match. But it's still, these are not the standards that we have been, as a club, saying. And we have, as a club, striving for. And ultimately, every coach, besides essentially Rob Valentino, maybe Stephen Glass to a degree, because he did get a job, but anyone that's a coach that is not a permanent head coach, they have all been let go for reasons of underperformance. And it's just not like, I really hope that the next person that comes in, that we can preserve their reputation, and we'll get to that in a second. But
let me see if I can tie this all together real quick. It's not going to be quick. Sorry, I apologize ahead of time.
Sure.
But bear with me. So coach killing. I mean, any coach who comes into a corrupted culture of a team, if they are not able to create a culture, or help facilitate the creation of that culture for the team, and it remains kind of corrupted and wrong and broken or whatever, they're gonna fail, because the team isn't going to be able to play up to its potential. You need to have some catalyst to be able to come into the team and create that type of thing, whether it be a player, whether it be a handful of players, whether it be a coach or something along these lines. Something has to happen to create that in order to band the team together. Now, a coach that comes in like a Tata Martino or something could potentially just create a culture like that, because he kind of brings it with him to a degree. And then the players can kind of get behind that, and hopefully do something. So yeah, if you don't have that going on, your team is going, doesn't matter who you bring in, if they can't create that, Ronny just could not create the thing that made sense here, didn't really work. And we kind of know why. And I remember Henry Higuita talking about this recently, where he was kind of diagnosing this problem where, he was asked, well, what are you going to do to try and band the team together? In the beginning of the season or preseason, I forget what it was. And then Ronnie's response was something along the lines of, well, I'm not going to put them out on a mountain together. I'm going to have them eat dinner together or something, and make sure that you sit with unique people every night or some along these lines or whatever. And I remember, Henry and other people listening to this was going that's not going to solve this. There's got to be better integration of the players with each other, culture wise. And I don't know how that gets done. I'm not a coach. I can't do that myself. But you got to do something. Something's got to happen, outside of practices. The guys got to get together and do things or something along these lines, or else it's just not going to build. You got to have something. So hopefully a new coach, maybe Tata, can do that. We kind of saw that with 2017. So maybe we can get there again. But yeah, like if you bring in another coach and they are not able to build a community and a culture that everyone can kind of get behind, you're going to be looking at a lot of the same stuff you saw these years.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very great point, is that there's not that synergy with the players. It's not a brotherhood. It's basically individuals part of an organization that is very loosely put together in that sense of, you have a player from England, you have a player from, Paraguay, you have a player from Venezuela, they might get along together, but, are they doing La Banda things like they were, in 2017, 2018, 2019? I mean, it's a very big part of it, and, hopefully, next season, that's whoever is brought in will be able to help solve that. But we'll get to that because Mike alluded to it a little bit earlier than we expected in this episode. But obviously, it's no real secret if you are have been following the team a little bit. But if you haven't, we will talk about him. But yes, Garth Lagerwey, he also has, it's been announced that he's taking an immediate and indefinite leave of absence from the club to fully focus on the medical treatment and recovery. And he has full support from the club and AMBSE. But he had returned briefly, I think kind of during the moments where he was, basically with the training grounds and the, kind of new announcement of that, and with the new studio, all that. But yes, the day-to-day operations of the club moving forward will continue under the chief soccer officer in Chris Henderson, also with the SVP of strategy Dimitrios Efstatio, and chief business officer Skate Knopfsinger, and they will continue reporting to AMBSE CEO Rich McKay. But Lagerwey said, "I am mindful that leadership of Atlanta United requires full-time attention, and right now I must simply focus on my health and ongoing cancer treatment. I am appreciative of the club considering my health needs during such a challenging time, and I'm also encouraged by my treatment progress and long-term outlook." So yes, from that health standpoint, absolutely great to see that. It is looking pretty decent, and hopefully he does make a full recovery. There have been you have the people that are probably more on the everyone needs to go type of route, and there are some people that have called for Lagerwey's head as well, as far as on the chopping block anyway, for being relieved of his duties. But I mean, thoughts on Lagerwey and this announcement, and the people with that sentiment.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of everything, I hope he gets well soon. Health is more important than sports, so hopefully he gets well soon. I don't really think it matters too much whether or not, like, he is really, if Garth is there or not there as CEO of Atlanta United right now. I don't think that matters as much for us, honestly. I just don't think it matters that much. Mm-hmm. I don't think I have that much more to say on it.
That's fair. Because
I don't know.
Yeah, and because Chris Henderson, as according to AJC, will lead Atlanta United's managerial search, and so I
have faith in him to do that. I don't think Garth needs to hold his hand or something. So
right, because I mean, he has had the experience of pretty much being a sporting director in this league, and he's had to make some decisions, and so it's I think from that standpoint, he's got to get it right. And also per the Atlanta Journal Constitution, is that Tata Martino was and is interested in the Atlanta United job, and so that is a massive bit of news as far as Atlanta United is concerned, because obviously he has been our most successful head coach in our history. He also, as far as name recognition from a 17 standpoint, from a world standpoint, it's there's nostalgia baked into it. It's also, he could be the best available head coach in this league that is around. If he's interested, could we really say no? I mean, we've said no to the likes of Marcelo Bielsa, and that famously was probably a mistake. But it's one of these things where there's a lot of arguments for and for not. But what's your take on Tata Martino and the rumor of him possibly being interested?
I mean, he already has a connection with, obviously, the club and us. He has a connection with Chris Henderson, obviously, when they were both in Miami. I think that it makes a lot of sense. You're right. He's available and he's good. He's done very well in MLS in the two teams he's coached for here. I don't know why he went to go coach at Mexico. That was probably not a good idea, but that team was never going to do that great, in my estimation. So going there is just kind of an exercise in like self-immolation. Now, going to LAFC, which was also kind of rumored it for a little while, but those rumors have very quickly died down, and I don't think there's that much legitimacy associated with them. That was a large concern for me, and it made more sense for me too, because A, they're looking for a new coach. B, he has the resume that we're also looking at going, yeah, that makes sense for an MLS coach to come here. But like LAFC is just a better team. They're more likely to win something. And, it's LA. I mean, it's, say what you want. Rich people like to live in LA. And I imagine he would be doing quite well there in LA. Now, obviously, it's nothing to spit at Atlanta, but like LA is a little bit, people's brains turn off and go, ooh, LA, whenever people say that. So, they don't do that as much for Atlanta when maybe perhaps they could or should, but that's neither here nor there. What's surprising to me is that I just don't really know where the pull is for Atlanta than for him, because he's already won here. The only thing that I landed on that I could think he could grasp is I don't like what has happened to the club that I originally started MLS with, and I want to fix it. That's all I could spin together. That would be his motivation, because I don't, outside of that, I mean, all these other clubs like LA can offer a comparable amount of money, comparable amount of places to live in, in terms of affluence and afford, amazing places to live. They could, LA, Miami, other places, they could do it better. New York City probably, but and they have better teams. He could win with a different team, more likely to win too, and then perhaps go to CONCACAF and do, go further there, perhaps. That might be what he's targeting. But with Atlanta, that just seems so far away. And obviously we don't want Tata Martino for only 2 years. We'd want him for longer than that. Getting him to stay longer than that might be a challenge. And so it would just makes more sense for me to go to a LAFC, 2 years, win there, and then move on again, like he seems to do. So it's just it's very strange to me to think that he's, there seems to be a lot of smoke for this rumor for Tata right now. And it's just you don't, in my mind too, you don't pull the trigger on Ronny so quickly and then say things like, we're trying to get back on track, and not kind of have someone in mind or someone kind of almost in place already, or in negotiations. So it just feels like it's all lining up to be Tata. And then again, I just come back to this. I don't really know what the motivation would be for him to come here again, besides wanting to fix what he sees as one of his broken children that he feels bad about.
Right. And yeah, that very well could be one of the cases as far as why he's interested. But I think also from, I think a tactics standpoint, a I think perception around the league. There's some fans that are thinking that the league has grown past Tata, and that's, I think, very interesting in some respects. As I mean, he might do well in kind of the aspect of the long season in that sense, but when it comes down to winning the cups, I think that's really where you're judged in this league. And obviously he has won it with us, but I think maybe there is an aspect of it that he does want to stay for a longer period. I'm not sure. No one really knows, but I think the thing that's important here is that we don't know, we will need to find out, I guess, is more what I'm trying to say, is that what he actually wants from Atl United, in the sense of does he want more control in players say? Does he want to develop the academy in a sense of in the image that he would like? I mean, he would basically be able to if he can do something in the respect of like Newell's Old Boys of Barcelona, it would be incredible if he could establish something like that for us here. That would be a lasting legacy, absolutely. But it really is a question, because he doesn't stay at jobs more than a couple of years, really, besides the Mexican national team, where obviously it was a little bit different. And it was a lot more free time, a lot more downtime. So, and a lot more travel, in a sense that you can, just kind of, scout some players and still be on holiday, essentially, to a degree. But, yeah, I mean,
he's getting older too, man.
Exactly. Yeah, it's 10 years, essentially, at this point. And so, it's, at least from when he first started, it's going to be really, really fascinating if he is actually the new head coach, what his motivations actually are. And
don't get me wrong, I'd love for him to come back. Don't get me wrong. I still think he can do a number in MLS. I don't know if he can win the cup. I mean, we saw the Shield of Miami, but, that was a special kind of team he was playing at the time.
Yes.
But, it's still I still think it's with him. It's a marked improvement for sure. For almost any club in this league, they would be happy to have him. So I would definitely be happy with him coming back. I just don't see a coach of his pedigree, why he's not lured into more, I guess, interesting projects, more projects that could lead to more success, more acclaim. And also you're getting a little older. Maybe perhaps you want to go back to coaching a team from early in your career in life, that you have a special bond with. You mentioned Newell's Old Boys earlier, back in Argentina perhaps, but Atlanta, that was only 2 years. I don't know, maybe. I mean, it's hard for me to wrap my head around it as the motivation, but if it happens, it happens, and then we'll figure it out, like you said. And if it doesn't, then it's just okay, the motivation was never really there.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll move on from that. I think we need to be a little bit more swift on these. But basically, yes.
These are big pieces of news.
These are huge. I know it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But yes, but we have players that will be under contract through next season, and some players that will not. And let's go through who we would keep and who we would move on. So, yes, the players that are under contract for next season: Atl, Moranchuk, Miggy, Saba, Alzate, Schlich, Muyumba, Gregerson, Mihai, Barakal, if we do pick up his loan, Amador, Brennan, Changqui, Ashton Gordon, Aiden Torres, and Cooper Sanchez, who the last three are homegrowns, of course, or last five are homegrowns. So, as far as Jaden Hibbert, he is he's got an option to pick up, and his future options go through 2028. Josh Cohen also has an option. Brooks Lennon has an option. Ronald Hernandez also has an option. Matt Edwards Nick Cisak, Jay Fortune, Will Riley, Leo Afonso, Jamal Tiare, and Cayman Togashi are all with options. So quite a number of players out of contract in a sense if we don't pick them up. But also the players that are within the side, we could move on as well. But let's kind of go through maybe each player that has an option, and we'll just quickly say, will we pick him up or not? So, and this is based off of our esteemed Patreon writer and staff writer Nick Tewell. So definitely shouts out to him. Check out the article and look at his picks as well. But Jaden Hibbert, like obvious.
Yeah.
Picking that up.
Josh Future.
Yeah. Josh Cohen, a little harder because we do need a backup. But is he the guy going forward? He basically he didn't play. He didn't play this season.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's some kind of behind the scenes like craziness about him that's like really good, I think I agree with Nick in saying that we could probably find a veteran goalkeeper that can give the the teachings, the scriptures handed down to Jaden, right? Besides him, but for cheaper, significantly cheaper.
Yeah. And we won't give away his whole article, but yes, definitely there were some very good nuggets in there. But Brooks Lennon, he's a TAM player, but what do you think?
I would not pick him up.
Yeah, I think we definitely absolutely need somebody that's rock solid defensively. We need that first and foremost to set the foundation. So unfortunately, Brooks Lennon, thank you for your time, but it is unfortunately timed to go. But Ronaldo Hernandez, for me, I'm declining it. It's he's been useful. He's been a very good ambassador for the team, but he's versatile. He had his usefulness. He's gotten better, but I think he's on that side of the age bit where I think we can try to figure out who those other players can be for the future. So what do you think?
Pretty much the same thing. I give him all the deference and respect he deserves for what he's done, and he's not a bad player. But I mean, he has been known to do little goofs and gaffes from time to time that have cost us in the past. So those have kind of tapered off. They haven't been as frequent, so that's good. Like you said, he's been getting a little bit better, so he's probably at his peak right now, but I still think could probably do better at that position. And also, I just have a feeling of wanting to get rid of basically most of what was the old age of Atlanta United that has just been like the last 5 years of just crap. So, and unfortunately, even though if you're one of the bright spots, and Hernandez, I could make an argument for kind of was to a degree, I still think it's just probably best to just do a better, more refresh for that.
Yeah. And not to say that Hernandez is crap or anything like that. It's just more.
No. The season and the team results have been, not him.
Yeah. But Matt Edwards, I think that's pretty obvious in some respects. Is you have a player that has a lot of potential and can play a number of positions for you and be pretty stout defensively. I'm picking him up.
Yep.
Nick Cisak, an option. It's it's cheap depth. I don't see why not in some respects. I don't think he's going to see a ton of playing time, but just probably supplemental player.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know if I don't still have enough data in him at MLS level to really make a good assessment. So maybe he could be a project, and we'll see a little bit more, and we'll see if he can really make an argument for it, that he is improving and getting better in whatever new system, whatever new style we start to play with. So
he's not necessarily a super young player, and he's not a homegrown type of guy. It's more I think in a pinch could do a lot worse, but Next player, I think this is an obvious pickup, Jay Fortune.
Yeah.
Will Riley as well. I think that's
I think
obvious. Leo Fonso. That's interesting. I think didn't really see a ton of playing time, and I think one of Chris Henderson's guys, especially because he drafted him last year. I think he's gonna pick. Pick up his option. But what do you think?
I don't think it matters that much if he were to stay or to go. But if Chris wants him there, that's fine by me.
Yeah. I mean, he seems like a guy that has potential to be able to, be, I think a bench player, a useful player in this league. It's just a matter of how many minutes does he need to actually develop, and so it might just be more he's, a twos player until he can, kind of really figure it out. But Jamal Tiare, I think that's a very interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's earned a little bit more. His output as a backup striker has been phenomenal. It's the best in our club's history. So I think that deserves a bit of a reward. I think we kind of have seen kind of the best he can do. So I don't think we're going to get more out of him in the future. If we have like a Joseph Martinez-esque like striker in Emmanuel Atl who could play like every game and rarely ever need to be subbed, like, won't see as much of him as we did, so often in the last couple seasons. So if he's okay with like dropping down a bit in terms of like seeing minutes, I still think he's absolutely one of the best backup strikers in the league. So why not keep him around?
Because he definitely has his usefulness, from a pressing standpoint, from a goal scoring standpoint as well. And off the bench, just provides a ton of energy and utility. And so, I'd pick it up, but it's I did previously ask, are we paying, too much for this backup striker when your starting striker isn't really performing that well? Maybe it is a good thing to have someone that's more productive off the bench. But I think, the alternative is hopefully you just have a, starting level striker that's pulling his weight. But, Togashi, will you pick up his option?
Probably. I as long as I haven't seen his, what it cost for him. But I can't imagine it's very much. And as just a third striker, I think he seemed perfectly fine. He brings on it like he's got energy. When he comes onto the field, he's always trying to push himself, and half the time ends up with his body in the net trying to score goals too. So, I respect that. And so hopefully, we don't need to see too much of him. And it sucks to say because like you want your first two strikers to do all the work really, and not have to rely on a third one. But like in terms of third level strikers, it's not a big deal whether or not you were to keep a guy or to get another one. They're pretty much interchangeable at that level in MLS. You could almost make the case with that as backup striker too, but Jamal has been above that, luckily for us. But Togashi is just a straight up, filling, it's a kind of warm body type situation, which is, people are high on him. They think he's, fun to watch when he's scoring it for the twos, but I don't know if exactly he's MLS level.
Yeah, and he's also 32 years old, or will be 32 years old. So it's on that end, it's father time is coming. So as far as those are the players that we'd keep and move on. But as far as maybe the players that maybe could be bought out, because yes, you do have that possibility, and we will need to make a number of moves, trades even. Personally for me, I would be trying to move on Muyomba. I'd be trying to move on.
Muyomba is the quickest and fastest movement.
Yeah, unfortunately. He has been a good player for us, but it's just the inconsistency, the errors in key moments have been killers. I'd also probably try to find some value for Gregerson. Unfortunately, I think just the lack of ability to stay healthy, super tough.
I want to know I don't know if I heard what the prognosis was for his latest injury.
Yeah, there basically hasn't been follow up,
and if that's like anything more than like 3 weeks, it's like, okay, this guy just gets chronically injured over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't announce it. I mean, to be fair,
but if it's just like a little one, like it's like a couple days to a week, it'd be like that happens to players, and if he's able to bounce back, that's okay. I can forgive that. That's not indicative of long-term craziness that like we are fearing might characterize his career with us. So yeah, hopefully it's not that.
Yeah, and again, yeah, they probably wouldn't announce it because yes, it would only make his value go down. So at this point, they're just any injuries or whatever, they're probably not going to talk about it. So I wouldn't if I were them either. But and I think for me as well, Moranchuk, he's just a misfit in our system. I mean,
the experiment is over at this point. I think it just you need a more just pacey, wanting to work in transition type player. I just don't think Moranchuk is that guy. He's a good like pinball player, like bounce off him and go, but he's not gonna run really.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. His language style, it's not necessarily. He doesn't strike most fans, I think, as a guy that is gonna take the game by the scruff of the neck and really pull you to a win. I think we need those type of players. Unfortunately, it's him versus Miggy, and Miggy is the captain. I mean, I can't see the team moving away from Miggy, and plus he's got an $8 million salary. It's really gonna be hard to move him. So you probably need to open up one of the DP spots. That for me is one of the no-brainers in a sense that the fans will get behind a new DP.
Man, imagine there's an open 10. Tata Martino comes in quick, starts helping Chris Henderson find that 10 replacement. Mm-hmm. That's an exciting prospect that can get fans butts in seats for next season.
Exactly, and that's really the key, is that they really and desperately need season ticket renewals, because that waiting list, I can't imagine there is really anybody on there. It's and
Tata Martino can get, sorry to cut you off, but Tata Martino can definitely get an attractive, like, maybe the next what the hell's that guy's name? The dude from Cincinnati who always scored, their number 10. They were always scoring. He moved to Dallas, I think, or whatever. Lucho Acosta. Yep. Like, you could get like an Argentinian Lucho Acosta to us that doesn't go away on the national team, that will light up the league, that can do that kind of stuff like that. Maybe he could get someone like that to come want to play for us, because I don't think players have been wanting to come play for us. But with Tata Martino, players do come. So
yeah,
hopefully.
Absolutely. But yeah, those are my players. Anybody else that you would try to move on?
I really am upset that like Emmanuel Latte didn't come good eventually. Mm-hmm. I mean, on Atlanta United, we should be a team that's like, make it, like, figure it out. We don't want to give you a year to figure it out. Mm-hmm. Like we paid way too much money to wait a year for you to figure it out. Like it should be right off the bat, but it wasn't the case. So it's kind of like similar to what I was saying with Ronny Deila. Like, if you're a respectable club, you cut and run and find a replacement, because that's just not working. You have to identify that. And it feels a little like that with Emmanuel Latte to me, but I could also see he's just another victim of how this team is rudderless. There's no leadership. There's no direction. the whatever kind of direction is being broadcast from Ronnie is just not being absorbed by the players for whatever reason. And maybe with some of those things, he can excel. And I can understand the argument for why someone would say, maybe we should take another chance on him in the case that he is able to be unlocked maybe next season by someone who has the key. That could be an exciting thing to think about. But to me, like, if for whatever reason they were able to offload him to a team that's pretty good, maybe even like a low-level EPL team, I don't even know if they would be interested. That might be, and get recoup 75% of like what we paid, and then go out and get like a 9 that fits a Tata Martino style. I mean, conceivably, Emmanuel should fit this, but he's just been, I don't know. So
I think that's wishful thinking, probably, unfortunately, because it's everyone would love to get rid of their underperforming players for big money and whatnot, but unfortunately, it's just in reality, it's the projects. Those type of players, it's really difficult to move them, and I think for me though, I don't think he's absolutely broken or anything. I think, he was getting into those scoring positions. He just wasn't putting them away. And I think that part is super key in that, if you're a player that can get into those scoring positions, well, that's the first part, and, the scoring yips. I mean, he didn't have them early on in the season, but, later on, I think, injury played a part. I think, the fatigue from having played for multiple months in a row without real break has taken its toll as well. But ultimately he underperformed, and so that is notwithstanding. But I think the tools are there for him to be successful. It's just a matter of, as well, chance creation. How many times was he just out on an island and really getting no service? And if he was a different type of striker, then he might be getting involved a little bit more, maybe more as a false 9, involving himself in the game, getting more touches, all that. But from a pressing standpoint, from a number of tools standpoint, I think he's a useful player. Maybe not going to live up to his, potential as far as the price tag, but I can see a championship side possibly, taking a flyer on him, but we will take a steep, kind of cut on what we paid for him if that is the case. But yeah. Anyway, so last bit of news is that Atl Utd announced that 2 players will represent their countries in the FIFA U17 World Cup. That will take place in Qatar from November 3rd through the 27th. Cooper Sanchez, and also, once my screen returns, here we go, Jonathan Ransom, which is the Atl Utd 2 goalkeeper who will represent Canada. So, definitely congrats to them for making those call-ups. But yes, let's get to the mailbag, and you guys send in these questions through IG Story and Discord. Please continue to do so, and we might answer your question in the future. But first question comes from, sorry, that was super loud, guys. Homer, if we are bringing Tata back, if the relationship is not severed, we should also bring Pineda back as well. This would mean we have a succession plan for when Tata leaves and Pineda becomes head coach again, and we have the 2 most familiar with the club spearheading this roster rebuild with Chris. Or am I tripping? What do you think?
Homer, you're always tripping, my guy. You're always tripping. But yeah, that is, I mean, the name Pineda should not be associated with this club unless it's a completely different Pineda in the future. So.
Yeah, I can't see that ever being part of the plan. Tata being back, I get that. Pineda, after he had just been let go, I don't see how that really will work. I think if you want to poison the well, that's how you do it. That is absolutely how you do it.
He was not good at all at Atlas. So
yeah, and I don't think he would make just like make a whole fuss about it being a assistant coach on this team, but it's like people are human. Like you're gonna have some resentment, and especially it's just like just move on from that swiftly. But you guys are leaning into this. Ronaldo Deila asks hashtag Pineda back. Also, when do you expect the new head coach to be announced? So obviously Pineda back. We talked about that.
Yeah, and hopefully we don't have to again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting just based on the knowledge that I have. They seem to want to be moving quick with this. I suppose that if you pull the trigger on Ronnie when you did, like as quickly as you did, you hopefully have some kind of idea of who you want to replace him in mind, and already are hopefully talking to that person. It would be really unfortunate if we were in another situation where we have to hire a search firm. Don't think we're doing that. So, I think it can be quicker than when we hired the search firm. So perhaps, what was it? How many weeks did it take from getting him into the club? Do you remember?
Too long. Too long.
It did take long, but I think it'll.
I don't remember the exact weeks.
I would imagine this would be, if they are putting their ducks on a line. Like I think that they're gonna find I don't think it'll be. I mean, then I'm remembering what Doug said about it could be like days or weeks. And I'm like, it could be if, like I said, they got their guy waiting in the wings, already. They've had they did the handshakes behind closed doors and kind of already did these these agreements and things. And all they have to do is, sign contracts afterwards.
I'm sorry, that's such a cop-out answer of days or weeks. It's like, days, okay, great. It's basically hedging every single bet. I mean, weeks, weeks could be the end of December. It could be anything. It's not.
That's true. My reading of it, and then maybe even I said it wrong. Maybe said days or a week. I don't remember exactly, but perhaps even in my mind, it would. He probably means days and/or a couple weeks is what I would imagine. I can't imagine he would leave the door open for a lot of weeks, but if he did, that's obviously not a good way of putting that, because like you said, it could mean anything at that point. But I just don't think it's days. It would be wild unless they really had this already lined up, planned for a while. That would mean Ronnie probably would have known that this was going to happen for a while. People in the front office had known for a while because they had already gotten these things lined up in the background. That would be crazy if they moved that quickly in just days. But I suspect it'll be at least 2 weeks, but who knows? I have no idea. This whole thing with Tata really throws it out of whack. Kind of throws what you normally think about when it comes to hiring coaches a little bit out of whack. So who knows? It's surprising.
Because if it's not Tata, then I imagine it takes a little bit longer. But if it is Tata, then
it could be falling. It could be originally was Tata. They talked to him behind the scenes. Then whatever contract shit fall through, and then now they have to find someone else, and then that adds a long time onto the and then we may never know, right? Yeah. So
because if it's not Tata, then there will be debunking of rumors and whatnot and all that. So it's dependent on if the rumors are actually true. So I think it might be pretty swift. It seems like there's a good bit of movement towards that direction, but I think we'll probably get some pressing of that later on this week when the press conference happens. So we'll find out. But next question,
which I believe is what, on Thursday?
Probably Thursday, yeah. So next question comes from Fender. What do you need to see to gain some confidence that Atlanta United will be a playoff contender next year? Any other FO moves you need to see other than coach? So we mostly already covered that, in the previous section. But as far as to be a playoff contender,
I would like our scouting department to be overhauled a little bit. Because I just don't think we're very good at that right now. At least it seems we have been doing a lot of missing. It seems like our scouting doesn't take into account players that can mesh well with each other, like chemistry wise, which is, admittedly hard to do. That's not just a number on a piece of paper somewhere. That's really hard to find. So, but for whatever reason, we've like come to the end result of doing the exact opposite of having like a perfect chemistry build. We're like the worst possible chemistry build imaginable, and then it has just lowered our potential so much because of that. So hopefully we can find players that are just able to mesh more, gel more. For whatever reason, we just haven't been able to do that, and that comes down to scouting and stuff and finding the right players to fit this team. What else would there be? Like having a left winger would be nice that is a goal scoring threat more than Afonso, at least in his current form. I think that having more time for the team to gel, like you said, a preseason with all the DPs and everyone kind of there, and with the coach and everyone getting a real firm understanding of creating a culture and identity of how they want to play, where it's clear and you see it from day one, like what they're trying to do. That's the thing. What a lot of MLS commentators and analysts have said for a while now. It's like they don't even know what Atlanta United is trying to do. There's a lot of teams that try to do a lot of things and fail, but you don't even know what they're trying to do. And it doesn't even look like the players do too sometimes. So like you need to at least, I want the team to start looking like they're at least trying to accomplish something in the preseason and the beginning games. And then if I see that, I'm like, maybe there's a chance that we can be getting into the playoffs again. It's easy to get in the playoffs. Doesn't say that much, but it'd be definitely a step in the right direction. Now, whether we can turn that into being, contenders instead of pretenders, I think we're probably a season or two away from after 2026 to talk about that.
And that's going to be the tough part, is if Tata is brought in, well, I mean, yeah, we're going to need to see some major overhaul. We're going to have to figure out how to get the right pieces in so that we are winning. So that is probably at least the plus side maybe from that, and that if it's Tata, well, it's going to be accelerated, because he's not going to be a very happy camper for losing at all. So, I think that bit is going to be, confidence building. But from the aspect of, I think, the players that have underperformed the Deadwood, we have to move on from that. And I think maybe someone we didn't really talk about, who I really like as a player, but I mean, Saba unfortunately underperformed, and he might be someone that also needs to be moved on, because it's just maybe from a standpoint where he comes off the bench, but is he going to be willing to do that? I think we need to find players that absolutely can start, can bang goals in, and it needs to be, I think, very, very much next season that player needs to be brought in.
It's tricky, man, because like I can kind of turn the argument that you said earlier about Emmanuel Atl back onto you here, is that like Emmanuel Atl before season, coming here was banging goals in like crazy. Then the year before, Saba was banging in goals like crazy. And then they both down-tooled this. You said Emmanuel Atl seems to be the player with the tools to eventually not be broken and, go back to what he was doing. Who's to say that can't happen for Saba too?
Well, the problem is, I think Atl is a lot harder to move. Saba, a lot less harder to move. And he's had a history in at least MLS to actually performing. So in that respect, I think, some team might take a flyer on him. I think we just need to kind of, unfortunately, wipe our hands and move on. And basically, if we can get something for him, because we need basically a position overhaul there. Basically, the winger position from 2025 was very, very low as far as an output. And, from that standpoint, I think you got to take what you can get and, open up the spot. And, Leo Afonso is not part of that conversation as part of a starting level, but Saba is. And Saba underperformed and has been, unfortunately, inconsistent to a degree, and has shown to not really be malleable in, I think multiple types of systems. He's definitely more of a counterattack player, which can be very useful, but I think larger part it's just his best was when Rob Valentino deployed him in that just play on the last line, get in behind, and I think there are the usefulness, but in this league, do we have the flexibility? It's just I don't know. I don't think we do.
This is why it's so important to get Tata or whatever coach in here as soon as possible to help make help with some of these decisions.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you're the kind of coach, you're going to play the team where you have guys bombing down the sides and, they believe Saba could facilitate that, then okay. I would be maybe okay with giving him one more shot. And if it just doesn't work out, then okay, right? We gave you one more shot under this new system, which we think you might be able to do well under. Okay. But if they want to do something else, I'm okay with them moving on from him, especially if Tata can give, or the next coach rather, can just give some input as to who he wants there. I think that could be a huge benefit for the team. You're starting to see like a lot of the attack become the shape of whatever the new coach wants, which can be, that's a little exciting to think about because our attack has been so lackluster.
Yeah. Next question comes from Submachine OP. In my opinion, maybe this time Atlanta should spend the bag to mildly improve every third instead of splashing out on a couple big signings. Also, where could Ronny Deila go from here? Will he succeed again, or was that MLS Cup of his the peak?
I'll answer in reverse order. I guess the cup might have been his peak because he hasn't seemed to be able to really get back to that. But it hasn't been that much, since then. So there's a chance that he could succeed again. I don't think he will. I think he'll just kind of either be middling or just kind of dissolve away into obscurity to a degree. But maybe I'm wrong. I kind of hope I'm wrong because I don't want to wish ill on anyone. I want everyone to kind of do well and, wish him the best, and I hope he does well, except for if he starts playing us. Now, I wouldn't worry, Submachine OP, about, how we're spending the bag right now, because I believe we are doing exactly kind of what you are suggesting. I think we are starting to put money on the kind of the core of the team, these more outfield players, these more guys that aren't the DPs, because the DPs are already there. So unless we move on from the 10, like we kind of posited could happen, we're not going to be doing kind of what you're worried about. I think we're pretty solidified there for now. I think you're seeing the money go into the other positions, so I think that's what will happen.
Yeah, and I'll answer that in reverse too. Ronny Deila, I think he will succeed elsewhere. I think it won't be in MLS. I don't really see another team taking a flyer on that, but probably in some other leagues.
He goes to Norway.
Yeah, it could be there. It could be, other places where he's had some success. Standard Liège, maybe. That might, that league anyway. That might be where he might be able to, pick up a few more, gigs. Unless he just, maybe goes on holiday, takes his money, and, just kind of rides off into the sunset for a while until he, figures maybe, okay, I do want to coach again. Or maybe he catches on like Gabriel Heinze with Arsenal as an assistant coach somewhere. Learn from, some higher ups, some coaches that are doing better than you. That might be part of the solution to getting better, actually. But and then, yes, as far as spending the bag mildly, I think yes. Is it in our MO? No. But, I think under the MLS salary structure, we have to find ways to be able to, get the 4 through 11 players, as good as possible, and that's where we do need to spend it and figure out how to get creative with it. And Chris Henderson is one of the best at doing that, so we will see. But okay, there's a bunch of questions about Tata, which Will M41 said, would Tata be good for us again? We already answered that. Is Tata coming back? From Terra Portillo de Rees. Jonah A99, Tata rumors true? Are they returning? Tata returning rumors true? Or Archer Bab 46, do you think Tata should come back? And Land Guy and ATL, if not Tata, who do you think is the best candidate outside MLS for the manager? So yes, we talked about Tata in a lot of those respects. Who do you think outside of Tata could be a candidate for us?
Well, before I address that, which I don't know if I have a lot to say on that one, but sure. I will say that the rumors are true in that there are rumors out there that seem to have some weight to them about Tata. So this isn't a nothing burger. There's something going on. Whether or not it will materialize to something, I don't know. I'm not even really bold enough to give like a percentage of confidence on it right now, but all I know is that there are people talking about it behind closed doors. Who knows if it actually means anything? But there is some movement of some sort. So there, it is a possibility. So you did hear rumors, and there are actual rumors substantiated that something is kind of going on, but nothing official yet.
Right. So there are conversations happening. Whether that actually comes into fruition or not is a different story. It doesn't mean that the rumors were false. It just means that, okay, Tata didn't come here if he doesn't come here. So if that is actually the case of he does come here, well, they will be proven true. So it's, as far as transfer rumors, as far as coaching rumors, it's never a thing where, they got debunked because that person didn't come. It doesn't mean that. It means that, yes, there were conversations, and whether that player or coach actually does land, well, yeah, I mean, I think, we will find out. But, as far as candidate, another candidate, I mean, it's, there's a lot of coaches around the league that have yet to be discovered, and I think that's part of the beauty of it.
Did he ask specifically outside MLS?
Who do you think is the best candidate outside of MLS for the manager? And I mean, the best candidate.
I don't know.
Yeah.
How you could? That's a hard one.
Yeah, that's super hard because that's really what the search firm's job is to do. Because we're in the middle of October, or near the end at this point, and at this juncture, there's not a lot of available managers. The ones that are available obviously are Ange Postecoglou, who just got let go. I can't imagine that he be wanting to come to MLS quite yet, and with that reputation, unfortunately, I don't think that Atl United would be kind of touching that a little bit, especially with Frank de Boer being there's Jose Mourinho laying into him for 71 days, and Ange Postecoglou was there for 41 days. So, even worse. I don't think that would be a solution. So outside of MLS, I mean, again, same thing that I was about to say earlier is that there's a lot of coaches that have yet to, be a head coach. I think there are a number of, those type of candidates that you can't even prognosticate. Just like Wilfried Nancy that, got the job at CF Montreal after Thierry Henry left, and then, became a world beater, or at least MLS beater, with Columbus Crew. So, I think we have to be open to that as well, because, going for the retreads, I'm not really sure that's going to be the solution for Atl United and the 17s. So, ultimately, I think I lean more on the side of picking either Tata or someone that has that type of promise that you want to bring into the league and kind of see. But this league also is super difficult to play in because of the travel, because of the MLS structure and salary rules. So they have to be familiar. So, and the last question was Rodi Inestrosa, who asked, does Latte deserve another season, which we had already answered. So,
I think he does on the balance of what he should get is another season. I think it's and see above if you missed the answer. But it was a bit of like it was hard for me to weigh it, but I think the balance of probability is that he'd get another one.
Yeah. And plus, it's just so much money. It's like you have to eat a lot of money and eat a lot of crow. It's just, But that does it for the mailbag and pretty much the entire episode, except for the question of the day. And the question of the day is thrown right back at you guys. Who do you think should be the next head coach of Atl United? Let us know in the comments below. Looking forward to what you have to say. But guys, that is the episode there and there. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. That's Michael. I'm AJ. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.